And then they were lowering their vibrations, maybe with a sound. Probably it is a frequency thing, with the environment and the sound that they emanate or whatever they do. Probably there are also others involved, some technology that they lower the vibration. And then the manifested body is exactly a physical duplicate of what was first in the astral. And in that lower dimension, they can also have spaceships. And this is how she explained that she was brought to Earth, because they entered a spaceship, a small craft, a small UFO or flying saucer, that they then flew into a mothership, a cigar-shaped big ship, that they then traveled into the atmosphere of the Earth, boarded the small craft again, and first that they would land in Tibet. She says, oh, beautiful question. Yeah. There's a saying also from Omnec that it's in her book. She said that the Venusian society evolved so tremendously because they also realized that spirituality and science are two sides of the same medal. Yeah, it's amazingly interesting to learn about that and to find about everything on your own within you. This is I feel very, very powerful to learn about yourself by introspection, inner work as well.
Yes, absolutely. Hi, this is Akanksshaa. If you're new here, please subscribe to my channel. If you resonate with me, please like, comment, and share. Welcome to Multidimensional Soul Podcast and a Talk Show. On this show, we talk about deep spiritual and mystical experiences of people which we normally shy away talking about. We are more than our physical body. We are spiritual beings on a human journey. And we discuss how a soul exists on multiple dimensions. We discuss science, technology, and spirituality point of views and perspectives on this show. Our purpose is to open our minds to limitless possibilities and our hearts to love and shine the light within bright. Our guest today is Anja Schäfer. She is from Germany, and her interest in astrology started when she was only 15. Astrology and existential questions. Later on, when she was 26, she moved to a small German city and opened an esoteric bookstore over there. There, she met her spiritual mentor, Omnec. Omnec is from Venus, and she's on Earth right now. Anya's first initiation was in unconditional love, in an unexpected, spontaneous darshan, that is the gaze of the master. And it was by Omnec during a workshop. This was the starting point of her self-realization journey. And that followed by the remembrance of her soul as a light being as she came on earth a long time ago. And now she is incarnated as a twin soul to return to full enlightenment and help in the ascension journey of earth. Anja works as a facilitator of Venusian wisdom and spirituality by publishing books, articles, by organizing conferences, giving retreats, and putting out videos on YouTube. Venusian spirituality is the spirituality from the planet Venus. Mainstream science and governments across the world are denying the existence of aliens. But at the same time, there are many people who have been contacted by aliens. People have seen UFOs, and there is a separate research going on UFOs. It would be arrogant of humanity or mankind to think that we are the only intelligent and evolved species in the entire universe. Just because we can't see something doesn't mean it doesn't exist, right? You know that cats and dogs have different perception abilities. They can hear differently, they can see differently. Similarly, with different perception abilities, we can actually experience the beings at the higher vibrations. So there is a civilization on Venus right now, part of it on astral level and part of it on physical level. They are far more advanced than us, both spiritually as well as technologically. Anya's mentors, Omnec and Raymond Keller, have been in touch with Venus beings or Venusian beings and civilization. And Anja has worked extensively with both of them. In my conversation with Anja, we uncovered a lot about Venus. We had a really long conversation, so I have divided this into two parts. We talked about Anya's initiations and awakening. We talked about the origins of human civilization on Earth, occurrences of Sanskrit words in Venusian spirituality, physical and astral civilizations on Venus, astral and physical travel to Venus, purpose of Venusians' presence at this time on Earth, and sharing of Venusian wisdom and spirituality at this time on Earth. Anya's deep spiritual experiences. We also discuss about this phrase, men are from Mars and women are from Venus. What is the hidden meaning behind this? We discussed about how the Venusian civilization integrates science, technology, and spirituality. We also discussed about soft disclosure of concepts through Hollywood sci-fi movies. We discussed about ascension vision for Earth. We also discussed very fascinating thing which I heard for the first time, that unlike star seeds who are born to Earth parents, Anya's mentor Omnec actually manifested herself from Venus, from astral realm to physical realm straight away on Earth without being born here. We also discussed about how to manifest our soul's desires, how to master our mind for creation and manifestation. And we discussed about key teachings of Venusian wisdom and spirituality, and much more. I have always been fascinated by aliens, UFOs, and spaceships and cosmos since my childhood. And I've been very, very curious about all these things. So I asked Anja a lot of questions, and this was a very, very enriching conversation. Learned a lot of fascinating things. I thoroughly enjoyed talking to Anja. I hope you enjoy this too. So, our guest today is Anja Schäfer, and she's from Germany, and her expertise is Venusian spirituality. So, a very warm welcome, Anja, on Multidimensional Soul Talk Show and a podcast. It's lovely to have you here.
Thank you so much for your invitation. I'm really happy I'm looking forward to our conversation.
If you have come across this episode on YouTube and you have not watched part 1, I highly recommend that you watch part 1 of this conversation first. We have discussed about Anya's profound spiritual experiences, awakening, her initiations, her spiritual mentor, Omnec, who came from planet Venus. We discussed about Venusian ancestors, Venusian civilization, how Omnic came on Earth from Venus, and Venusian spirituality. So tune in, watch that part 1 first, and then come to this one. The experience where your higher self embodied your current body, was that before meeting Omnic or after meeting Omnic?
After. Yeah, as I said, I was giving, because of the love that I experienced through her, I gave myself the permission to go on my quest for myself. And then I experienced, because see, Akanksshaa, the permission that I gave myself was to be crazy. That means that I was allowing myself to do stuff that was not reasonable, to not accept a certain job, because, for example, I needed to make decisions from my soul and not from my mind. So this was it was like I needed to, for a few months or so, I needed to build this energy up by deciding every moment whether I choose the way of the system and the world and being practical and taking a job and all these kind of normal things, or whether I just follow my heart and my soul. So this was a period where I always had to make these choices every day, to also decide to be rejected by people, to be not understood by people, no people pleasing, nothing like that. Going into this realm of full trusting the universe, all these kind of things. I also decided, I think that was the time when even my parents and I had no contact for a while, because of course they had no way of understanding what their daughter is doing. So everybody thought I was really crazy. But this means I'm giving myself the permission of embodying. I did not say that consciously, but when I say consciously, I am the embodiment of the essence of my higher self. That means no matter what form it takes, no matter how the expression looks, it could be anything. Maybe I'm just putting stuff into my suitcase and go out and do some whatever. See where my path is leading me to. So being really on this freeway, doing what you want, without, of course, harming nobody. You're not interested in harming somebody, You just want to be alive. You just want to be happy. So follow the bliss, follow the happiness, all these kind of permissions I could only give to myself because Omnec initiated me into this knowing there is love, and love is all that is. Without the love, I would not have dared going that path.
Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. Love is very powerful. And it is the most powerful force that there is in the universe.
It is actually the only force. It is the essence. It is when you come, it's like, on this on my poster here, this is essentially the illustration of the God worlds. We called it like that. This is based on Omnec's teachings because it shows the God world, the levels of density or the dimensions. It's I could talk about that for hours or even give a workshop just about that so that people can experience it and to go on a journey consciously and expand your consciousness. And when you look into the center, there's just the white sphere or the white light. And this is God. Everything else is emanations from God, mirrored worlds, and it's the lower density worlds, but the essence of God is everywhere and in everything. It's the basis for existence.
Right. Yeah, I have seen the diagram. It's similar to something that we have in Advaita Vedanta, where we have different layers, and then the highest is the Parabrahma, or the ultimate source, God. Yeah.
It's everywhere the same. See, this is what I meant with spirituality. It doesn't matter if you call it earthly spirituality, Venusian spirituality, universal, divine, whatever. Spirituality is just a word to begin with. It's just a name. What does it mean? It means basically for me, to me, the teachings, finding the essential teachings to find God within. Basically, this is how you could define it, for example.
Yeah, definitely. So there is a saying that has got very popular, that men are from Mars and women are from Venus. And there is a literal meaning to that, and there's some metaphorical meaning. But in astrology and mythology, Mars is representation of masculinity, action, and assertiveness, and strength and courage, whereas Venus is the softer side, like feminine, love, beauty, harmony, nurturing qualities, compassion, creativity, emotional connection. All these are qualities that are represented by Venus traditionally in the mythology and astrology. So, when you talked about Venusian spirituality, and you have talked about love a lot, do you think that it emphasizes on bringing out the divine feminine more and more so when we are ascending? There is a thought process that now we are going to see more and more feminine rising everywhere, and these qualities kind of get awakened and activated. So, is that the understanding that you also have?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. As far as I'm taught, or as far as I feel it, and also the way Omnec has been sharing it always in her teachings, in her talks, she always said that we, because of the manipulation on humankind long time ago, we went into the separation. It's very simple. We went into the duality consciousness. I mean, it does not have only to do with the manipulation on humankind or with the separation of the brain halves. You can see it from different angles. It's also a cycle that the earth was going through, and it was part of the purpose of the earth to also be a home for younger souls and to allow the experiences of separation consciousness and duality. There's no judgment about that. Nothing that happened, there's a level that nothing happens anyway. There's always the level of God consciousness where there's just isness. There's nothing happening. There's just isness. But on the outer levels, you can say there's a lot of movement and happening. And on the very outer edge, on the earth, we had the separation consciousness. The separation consciousness also had to do, or has to do, with a distortion of the divine feminine and the divine masculine, that they were separated, the feminine and masculine polarities, that they were separated. Oh, there still are in some way, but I'm talking now as if it's already healed. Yeah, they were separated. And that also meant that we had a lot of masculine distorted energies coming, were ruling the planet. And they still are to some extent. When it comes to patriarchal societies, overpowering women, possessing women, and the man is the one who is in charge, and who man is there's so much connected to that, so many mindsets and structures and stuff like that. And also the whole system that the masculine energies, or even in churches, it's usually men who are ruling and who are in charge, like the Pope. Yeah, why isn't there never a female Pope? Yeah, it's everywhere, wherever you go and wherever you look, and also in politics, it's rarely really a female energy. Even if it's a woman, it's a male energy in the woman most of the time. And this is something that's going to change with the transformation and the ascension and the return of the earth to a higher level of frequency and the healing of the planet. The feminine and the masculine polarities come back into balance. So that means that the feminine is rising up and bringing balance to the polarity of the original divine feminine and divine masculine qualities. That means, of course, in the beginning, that it has to begin in everyone individually. To observe, this is another path of spiritual awakening, to learn about your own self, to learn about what is masculine within me, what is a masculine trait or energy, and what is more feminine. And as you already said, I totally agree. For me, feminine quality, for example, is more like leaning back and being in the receptive mode and receiving also information, allowing the divine to flow through me, being in trustful, in confidence, being also very much aligned with the divine energies, with the stream of consciousness that is always interconnected with everything. No separation consciousness. This is for me essential. The feminine quality of just allowing everything that wants to emerge, to have full trust and faith, confidence and patience. And then every once in a while, of course, I also need to put something into action. So the masculine quality within me then would be something like, well, now I feel inspired to do something. whatever it is. Maybe I want to call somebody, go somewhere, do something physically, create something physically, but it is always first processed through the heart and came first from my higher self. And so this is something that is a beautiful spiritual path, I feel, to first find the balance within oneself, the masculine and the feminine energies, to completely free ourselves also from relationship patterns and structured mindsets on how a relationship or a partnership or something, marriage, everything that has to be in a certain way. You know, this is why I'm single my whole life. Why? Because my soul chose to first find myself back and to completely find alignment with the divine within me before whatever may happen at some point. Maybe I will be aligned also physically with a divine counterpart who also is in his complete alignment and energy. And then we can dance together as souls without attachment, without expectations, without clinging, fear consciousness, jealousy, all these negative things that we have in the societal rules. So this is, I think, what I have to share about that. And when it comes to the saying, like Mars, men come from Mars and women from Venus, I believe this is more symbolic and metaphorical, saying that, of course, the two qualities are very, very different. There is a dual nature of soul, and this is what you realize when you're having the twin flame experience. You start educating yourself, because you'll start learning that there is a divine feminine and a divine masculine quality aspect, and this is the emanation of the soul in two embodiments. And this is what soul basically is. I mean, soul is a union, yes, but when it comes then to the aspect of going into the lower dimensions, soul can have the experience of its dual nature, and then it embodies at the divine feminine and divine masculine quality, whereas the other aspect is always also included. There's just some dominant quality within you, and it can be in the gender, in the male gender or in the female gender. We know that it doesn't have to be in the female or in the physical body. It's more energies and frequencies.
Absolutely. Yes, I agree. And we need to have that balance and harmony. And as you rightly said, that we need to have the feminine rising, and we are seeing that more and more, the softer qualities and the feminine essence rising. One
And
thing,
the interesting thing is, it is soft, yes, but it can also be very clear. It's, as far as I understand my own female quality, it's not saying yes to everything. It's also, but it is soft, yes. The no, it is always coming out of a position of love and not of a position of duality, hate, or rejection. It's a total different way of living when you are, as far as I feel it, in the being in the feminine. Yeah, it's amazingly interesting to learn about that and to find about everything on your own within you. This is, I feel, very, very powerful to learn about yourself by introspection, inner work as well.
yes, absolutely. We talked about Venusian spirituality and as well as science, actually. And I understand Ray has combined science and spirituality, and you've got mentors in Omnec and Ray, and you've got those downloads and information about how the Venusians are not just spiritually advanced, but as well as technologically advanced. So, can you share what can humanity or earthlings learn how to integrate that science and spirituality both, and advance both technologically as well as spiritually at the same time?
Oh, beautiful question. Yeah. There's a saying also from Omnec that it's in her book. She said that the Venusian society evolved so tremendously because they also realized that spirituality and science are two sides of the same medal. Yeah. It's again something that maybe it has to do with my Fastos disc, because it is also something that has two sides. Yeah. I don't know. People can do their own explorations and research whether it resonates. But it is something that is crucially important. And this is also why we are not, or we, I mean, the Earth governments or the Earth scientists are not given the higher technology from the extraterrestrials or from the Venusians, because they have not grown spiritually yet to that extent that is necessary to deal with high technology in a non-destructive way. Because imagine, you know, a few decades ago, we had still the Cold War and people were developing atom bombs. And this is science, yeah, very intelligent, right? It was in the 30s or so that some intelligent scientist came up with how atoms can create a bomb and how this is technologically and whatever possible to have atom bombs. And to what happened, you know, when they started playing around with these destructive elements, they were killing so many life forms in the ocean, in the Pacific Ocean, when they did their first initial trial explosions. And then they even threw bombs in on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, or what was it? Yes, and killed and destroyed so many life forms, people, with all the radiation, with the after effects of decades of genetic manipulation and everything from the radiation. What a destructive path that they went on. So it's good to really look at that. I mean, this is now 100 years ago, approximately, when that started. And this was when the ETs, the benevolent ETs, were really starting to look on the Earth. And they said, hey, this is not possible to continue. We are not allowing that the Earth will be destroyed by these nefarious beings, who are partly really nefarious because they are other entities. They don't care about the Earth. They have no love, no compassion. They're not interested. They're just interested in power and in ruling the planet and other people. And they don't care who and what they destroy. This is a certain specific part of entities and beings that exist and that also are still partly ruling the Earth. This is exactly where the system comes from. So the ETs, like the Venusians, for example, and others, they started to really say and have their meetings and everything, according to Omnec, to find out what can we do. Because there is a law, a spiritual law of non-interference. They can't just arrive with their big spaceships, and what should they do? Evacuate humanity and leave all the negative beings here alone? No. They had to find other paths and other ways to bring information, to bring love, truth, and spirituality back to the people and to awaken them. And this is how the whole thing started, with sightings, with UFO sightings, with Venusian contacts, with other contacts, Pleiadian contacts, Syrian contacts. People started channeling, people started writing books about, you know, the whole esoteric movement and everything started at that time. And as I already mentioned previously, the Venusian valiant Thor was even living in the Pentagon for 3 years to try to bring information, but not to bring technology. And this is exactly why they could not bring technology, because they would have misused it. They were not spiritually aware enough. They would have used it against others, and not for the people, but for themselves. So this is the whole thing. This is why we are now in this big transformation of the earth process on the ascension of humanity, of awakening and everything, so that people start spiritually awaken, evolve first from within, start making their choices according to divine laws and spiritual connection with their higher beings, higher selves, going within. This is all the process that everybody first individually must go through, integrate, because when you are in a consciousness of connection and of oneness, you can't do any harm anymore to others, neither consciously nor unconsciously, because you are aware of the oneness and you love the earth and you love life and you love yourself and you love. You're not in the separation consciousness anymore. So when we as a species, or at least a large amount of people, have come to that consciousness, then we can have the contacts, and then we can also have the introduction of high scientific technology and spiritually advanced technology. This will be introduced according to Omnec when people have reached a certain level of consciousness, that they can deal with it, that they use it, and then it will help us. According to her, it goes even a step further, that after the transformation of the earth, whatever that means exactly, I don't absolutely know how this looks like and when it will be like that. But she said then will be the contact, the open contact, and the introduction of the high technology. According to Omnec, she even says that the technology that we have now will cease to exist at some point, because there is one movement into complete control of humanity. And this is all dependent on technology, on the system, on the money system, on the technology. But it all depends on the system or on the electricity, the way it is still working. But they cannot just shut it off, because we still need it. We still need it the way it is. But at some point, people will probably have that high awareness and consciousness and reach such a level of consciousness as a collective. Maybe it's not global, maybe it's just in groups. I don't know these details, but I can imagine that then they will be introduced with technology that is in harmony with nature and by the higher beings. So I hope this makes sense. It's more like now I'm talking a little visionary, because I don't know these details and I don't want to claim that I do. Yeah. But this is the direction that I can see.
Wow. Yeah, we've seen the misuse of technology, especially when the bombs were put on Japan, and recently it was highlighted in Oppenheimer movie as well. And that's absolutely agree that the scientists probably are not given this details of the latest technology, the advancement of the technology, because they are not yet in that unity consciousness.
Yes.
So
because you must be in that consciousness to also be able to handle that, because most of the high technology also in spaceship is so high, you have to be master of your mind. It's much is mind controlled. It's they operate the ships and they fly the ships with consciousness, with awareness, and also in tune with other beings that are maybe not only physical, but also you have to have this high awareness, this connection, this you have to have reached a certain level of ascension and of enlightened consciousness to be able to deal with that consciousness to the technology at all. So even if you know the film Independence Day, when when the two earthlings are entering that little craft and they are really have no idea what the heck is in that, what kind of technology that is. Somehow, of course, in the movie, Will Smith is still able to fly it, because he is intelligent. It is supposed to be like that, but it is normally, and the scientist in that film, he also said, we have this thing here for decades. We have no idea what all these lights and everything, what all this is. Yeah.
Yeah, I have heard, and there are speculations that many Hollywood movies, the screenwriters and the directors, they get downloads.
Yes.
And that's how these sci-fi movies are made.
Yes. We call it also soft disclosure. It's, it's the Star Trek, Star Wars, The Day the Earth Stood Still, Contact. There are so many amazing films that really show technology. They show also spiritual, advanced beings. It's absolutely to bring the awareness of all these beings, technology, and also spirituality. Like in Star Wars, you also have the Jedi, the Yoda, and everything. It's really amazing. You can learn. People can learn a lot from that, and it prepares people for the contact and for these technologies.
Yeah, I love Christopher Nolan movies as well. Inception and Interstellar.
Yeah, very intelligent movies.
Yeah.
Or do you know Arrival? Arrival is also so beautiful.
When you talked about the vision for Earth, has Omnec or Ray given you any timeline as to when that is going to happen? Is it like 10 years, 20 years, 50 years? Is it going to happen in our lifetime?
This is the key question. I wished I know. I wished I know. I really don't know. I have so many ideas. It could be in the next years that tremendous shifts are clear and visible. It could be some split of timelines. This is also that some people are talking about, that those who are really in this super unconscious mode and continuing to move, not that those souls who have not incarnated, not signed up for awakening, that they continue in their environment, in their earth or so, and that another earth is, but I can't really imagine. Or is all the same earth, just different layers of consciousness again? Or is it something that is still going on for the next hundreds of years? It's so, I have no idea. Personally, I have no idea. I know that people are talking about time frames and ideas and how this is going to happen and this is going to happen. And always when I hear ideas from others, I think, well, maybe you're right. I don't know. And this is all bringing me back to myself, to my present moment. I think the present moment is all that counts and all that exists. Even now that I'm speaking here, sitting in my room with you, and when we finish, what I'm going to do then, I have to order stuff or organize my clothes, or go shopping, visit my parents in the home. The present moment, this is where the focus needs to go, to be happy now, and to eliminate everything out of my mind and out of my physical environment that is not aligned with my happiness anymore, and to choose consciously what do I want to manifest, to create. Like, for example, now I started creating spiritual retreats for September 2025. I just got the inspiration when I was on Crete last week. So this is now, I'm working on these on my website and on informing people. So I start being a creator, consciously creating what I want to experience and share these information. So I don't know about focusing anywhere else outside of my heart and my consciousness.
Yeah, actually, that was my next question, because you had talked about Omnec being manifested from the astral realm straight into the physical, denser realm. And typically, what we have seen, this is the first time I heard this, because what we have seen is star seeds. Even though they are star seeds, they're physically born to earth parents. And this is the first time I heard that she's not born to anybody. She just manifested herself out of astral to the physical.
which is like
Yeah,
a
but
very
not on the
high
physical
level.
earth directly.
Okay. So can you explain that a little bit? And you also have mentioned quite a few times that we need to master our thoughts and our mind, and that is the way to ascend and be more aligned with our higher self. So can you explain to people how can they manifest their soul's desires, and not generally the materialistic things, but their soul's desires, and how can they master their mind, and what have you learned from Omnec in terms of manifestation and creation?
Yes, okay. Thank you for this is 2 questions. So I will answer the second first because this is more practical, I believe, for the people. So I like saying how I do it. So when I say mastering the mind, I mean to choose conscious thoughts and to observe my thoughts, to observe what is going on in my mind. I feel this is the first step because the observer is the soul, and the soul is neutral. It has no judgment. It has no opinion. The soul is the energy that is bringing this whole body to life. So the soul is the observing energy and the observing quality, and the mind is normally nonstop thinking something. And I feel this is the first step to really observe what is going on. I can give one example, one short example. In the year 2000, when I started my first ascension, so to say, when I was still on the path to rise my energy, I was constantly talking on tape. I was talking journaling. It was an audio journaling. I was saying, today I experienced this and that, and I'm doing this and that, and this is what I'm thinking, and this is what I have been doing, and this is what I'm this and so and so and so and so and so and so. And then I was re-listening to it over and over again. I needed that at that time to have a neutral perspective and to observe my own loops, because I was looping. I was looping for a long time. I was in love with a guy for 4 years, and I was talking about him, about my dreams and what I want, and blah blah blah. It's an insanity in a way, but yet it helped me shift out of my loops by observing what my mind is circling around. It's just you can also do it by journaling. People observe their thoughts by journaling. It's also possible to really read it again, not just pouring it out. It's also good as a cleansing process, but really observing what is going on within my mind. And then throughout the years, especially the last years, before I had my 3rd initiation, the twin flame experience, I started choosing consciously. For example, of course, I educated myself with I am teachings. I am teachings are for me very, very essential and crucial. It's not something that is basically taught by Omnec so clearly, but there's also a how to just be program written by Omnec, and there's also this I am a conscious soul. I am choosing my life. I'm choosing my thoughts, or it goes deeper because there are also teachers. It can have to do with Saint Germain. Saint Germain was also or is an I am teacher. So choosing consciously what I am wanting, what I am. I am love. I am light. I am the sacred embodiment of light. I choose to now evolve in a non-dual alignment and reality. These are partly affirmations that I create myself or that I pick up from other teachers, like from Omnec or from Vivian Chauvet or from Saint Germain books, whatever. And this is, it's a big process that is going on for years. Sometimes I write them down and I read them again, or I record this again for myself. This is one reason probably why I am single and not usually I'm most of my life alone, because I need this time to really cleanse my process myself. And I notice, you know, sometimes I notice that I'm consciously or that I'm unconsciously evolving into what I have been affirming for a while. Even when it comes to losing weight or when it comes to manifesting things, I am a teacher. I am a conscious creator. I am being guided by the light. I am whatever I want. I'm now being shown how to organize my next conference. And I fully trust my spiritual guidance to show me the next step. This is for me consciously choosing thoughts that align me with my highest purpose and myself and with my where I want to go. And I cannot say that I have already mastered everything. There are still some things that I have doubts, that I have that I'm uncertain of. But then I try to observe that again and say, hey, I'm being shown, I'm being guided out of my confusion. I ask my spirit guides to help me heal, to help me clear this path. See what I mean, right? So this is it's a conscious teaching and training yourself instead of just absorbing information or just believing in everything outside, but really shifting the energy inwards. So does this answer that question basically? Yes.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so the second question was about manifesting Omnec's body. Very shortly, because there's also a video on my YouTube channel, and it's also explained, of course, beautifully in her book. For those who want to read her story, that's the book, From Venus I Came. And she explains it exactly how it happened and what happened, how she was born on Venus, how life on the astral Venus is, and how she was guided to come to this decision because she was asked by the spiritual masters on Venus whether she would go on that adventure and manifest a physical body to go to the earth, fulfill her life cycles, and be a teacher and also an experiment, and also some transmitter of information, because they needed a ground person, a person that on earth as a child to observe the problems of society, to observe what is going on. They needed a soul, a pure soul that is among the earthlings that are exactly not in control of their thoughts and totally manipulated and totally in control of environment and society. So they needed somebody who is a pure soul that goes through these experiences without getting attached or intertwined or absorbed by the environment. See, this is the big difference of a person who's normally born on Earth. I was born on Earth too, and in the beginning years, I was also not in that soul consciousness. I awakened to that soul consciousness when I was 30, because it was my soul's plan and my purpose to be now who I am now and what I'm doing now. But with Omnec, she came with that complete full awareness as a child, and this is why she was not supposed to be born to an earthly mother, so that she was not supposed to lose the consciousness and her memory. So back on Venus, she was asked to whether she would want to do that, go on that excursion, adventure. And she said, yes, exactly. And then she says, on Venus, there is always, and on every other planet as well in our solar system, that they have transfer stations that exist multidimensionally. So she says there is a city of rats. It's called the City of Rats that exists multidimensionally on Venus. And she, when it was the time to manifest the body, accompanied by her uncle Odin, she went into that temple and they did some kind of whatever ceremony. It's hard. It's again something that's very secret or sacred. I don't know how this works. And then they were lowering their vibrations, maybe with a sound. Probably it is a frequency thing, you know, with the environment and the sound that they emanate or whatever they do. Probably there are also others involved, some technology that they lower the vibration. And then the manifested body is exactly a physical duplicate of what was first in the astral. And in that lower dimension, they can also have spaceships. And this is how she explained that she was brought to Earth, because they entered a spaceship, a small craft, a small UFO or flying saucer, that they then flew into a mothership, a cigar-shaped big ship, that they then traveled into the atmosphere of the Earth, boarded the small craft again, and first that they would land in Tibet. She says in Tibet, because of the high, because it's so high and the mountains and the energy, that it has been used by space travelers for thousands of years as a place to adjust, to get used to their physical bodies, because they need to get used to the low vibration. And she had to learn to use her vocal cords. She had to learn to walk, to balance her body. She had to learn to speak and to write and to learn the language English, because she was then brought to America to replace the other girl. And she had to learn to eat, to go to the toilet, and everything that is just necessary for a physical person, for a physical human being. And when she was ready, accompanied again by her uncle and by a Martian, they boarded a craft again, and then they were flying to the United States, to that point in time when the other girl was just sitting in a bus to her grandmother, on the way to her grandmother, and that bus would have an accident. And because they can see the timelines, they can see into future and past timelines, they have this technology. They knew this would happen. This would happen anyway. And this is why they brought Omnec exactly there, so that she would replace the other girl physically. The other girl died in that accident. Her body was taken care of by the uncle and by the Martian, and Omnec was positioned there as one of the survivors. And this is how she was snuggled in to her earthly family.
Wow, that's very different and fascinating.
I know, it's a unique story.
It's very
And
unique.
it's an absolutely unique story. And the thing is that I'm talking about it is because I have never heard anything different from Omnec. She has been saying that she wrote her book in the 60s, her autobiography, and throughout her whole life, she never, ever said the story differently. This is one reason why I have no doubt that this is what her experience was. And the other reason why I'm sharing it is because I know her personally since almost 30 years. And I know what kind of energy she has and what kind of impact she has, and her spiritual teachings, her knowledge speaks for itself. So even those people who, for whom the story is too crazy to believe in, they don't have to believe in it. It doesn't matter. What speaks for itself is Omnec's story, her knowledge, and her life story.
Absolutely. If you were to take out one or two key teachings of Ray and Omnic to share with our audience, what would they be?
People on Earth have to learn to start loving and accepting instead of judging and criticizing. Patience and humor. Not
Okay.
take everything so serious.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So we've had a long and very interesting conversation. I have a few questions which I ask all my guests. It's like a rapid fire.
Okay,
So
I do my best to ask fast, answer fast.
okay. If you were to explain what is a multidimensional soul or a multidimensional being to a lay person, a common man, how would you explain it?
Oh, I would use the image of this little Russian doll. I would say, imagine there is different layers around you, so you are all of them at the same time.
Okay. What is holistic well-being to you?
Being at peace, laid back, relaxed, with a calm mind.
Okay. What is love according to you?
Love is just all that it is. It's just so beautiful. Love is existence. Love is everything.
What is self-love?
Respecting and having patience with myself, being kind to myself, taking care for myself.
What is the ultimate purpose of life?
Experiencing everything to the fullest by getting more and more into the present moment.
Okay, beautiful. And what is your parting message for our audience today?
Just choose your way of happiness, please. Get out of this systematic thinking, out of old clothes and patterns. Be courageous. This is your life. This is your physical existence. Do everything that you can do to be happy and let go of everything that does not make you happy. And educate yourself spiritually and galactically. It's so important to also learn and to open the mind to higher realms of consciousness and awareness.
Beautiful. And where can people find you? How can they contact you?
Oh, my website is venus-spirit.com, and there is all information on there. Videos, books, everything. I like to hear from people. Thank you.
Sure, yeah, we'll give your details in the description. It has been absolutely a privilege and a pleasure talking to you and having you on my show. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Akanksshaa. Thank you
Lots
for
of love.
having